Hi, welcome to the Dynamic Duel Podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Johnny DC.
And I'm his twin brother, Marvelous Joe.
And in this episode, we will be doing a duel between the teenage JSA character, Jakeem Thunder, against the hero from the Young Avengers, Wiccan.
Yeah, and just a quick disclaimer, guys, up front. Jonathan and I are recording this episode way in advance because I will be on vacation the whole week that this episode drops. So I'm not even thinking about the podcast right now. I'm probably on a beach somewhere in Spain, just living it up. And I know that Comic-Con just happened, so there's probably a lot you wanted to hear about from us, but unfortunately, we will be saving all of that for our next episode next week.
Yeah, so we're just going to dive right into the main event.
Yeah, no news, no prize, no question of the week, so go back and listen to last week's episode if you still want to answer. But as always, we list our segment times in our episode description, so feel free to check out the show notes if you want to skip ahead to the main event, which is coming up right now, so why bother? But don't forget, guys, to join us on Patreon, where we offer ad-free episodes of this show, bonus content including top 10 episodes and bloopers, monthly live movie watch-alongs, and access to our Discord chat server. Check it out right after this episode at patreon.com/dynamicduel, linked in our show notes. Our lowest tier is only $2 a month.
And for $10 a month, you can become an executive producer and help us determine which episode content we do week to week.
But with that out of the way,
on to the main event, where we find out who's going to win in a fight between Jakeem Thunder and Wiccan. Okay, Jakeem Thunder versus Wiccan. We knew we had to do Wiccan in lead up to our episode 300, where we're going to pit the Young Justice team against the Young Avengers, and Wiccan is a member of Young Avengers. Initially, we were going to pit him against Wonder Girl, but then we decided that was a terrible idea. So then we decided, well, maybe Tracy 13.
Yeah, and I was all ready to do that, but then you called a last-minute audible saying that you wanted to replace Tracy 13 because you thought she would be a better matchup against Nico Minoru from The Runaways.
Yeah, totally. I thought that was a perfect matchup. So when I was looking for a replacement for Tracy 13, just looking at a list of teenage DC heroes, Jakeem Thunder caught my eye. I've been a big fan of the character for a long time, and I've been wanting to do a duel episode with him for quite a while.
I feel like a lot of the audience who maybe isn't familiar with the comics still knows who Wiccan is because he is one of the sons of the Scarlet Witch. He's Billy. And if you've seen WandaVision or Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you've seen a younger version of the character. I highly suspect that one day they're going to age the character up into his late teens and he'll be part of a Young Avengers team in the MCU.
Well, Jakeem Thunder has also been on television. He was in Stargirl Season 2, so if anyone has seen that, they're familiar with that character as well. And of course, this is a quasi-tie-in to our last episode where we reviewed Ms. Marvel, in that Jakeem Thunder has a genie that uses genie magic.
Cool, well, let's get into it. If you've never listened to one of our duel episodes before, the way we determine a winner between these two characters is by running 1,000 Monte Carlo simulations using their statistics. A Monte Carlo simulation is a probabilistic model used to determine outcomes through random sampling.
And in our case, it randomizes statistics along a normal distribution, which is a bell curve, as a way to simulate the many variables that can occur during battle. The stat parameters we use are based on the official Marvel Power Grid, and we use that criteria to extrapolate the DC character stats. We've included some additional stat categories of our own, such as range, damage potential, versatility, and perception, in order to create a more complete and robust simulation.
Running these 1,000 simulations gives us a percentage of wins for each character, and we declare the one with the higher percentage to be the ultimate victor, considering that they're more likely to win any given battle. No character ever wins 100% of the time. Comics have shown that there's usually a way for Batman to defeat Superman, and we feel our method falls in line with the precedents that have been established in the comic book stories.
And we use this method because it was the least subjective, most unbiased way to determine who would win. Of course, we are both heavily biased toward our respective allegiances, so instead of debating these matches forever, we just let the math decide for us. There's no fan votes here, and no relying on just feats.
Before we run the simulations, though, we like to break down each character's histories and abilities before improvising a scenario on how we imagine one of the 1,000 simulations we run would play out beat for beat. And it is my turn to go first this episode with the Marvel character's backstory, so let me go ahead and tell you guys all about Wiccan. So years before William Kaplan was born, the Avengers, known as Vision and the Scarlet Witch, were able to use magic to conceive twin boys, Billy and Tommy. They were a happy family for a time, but that fell apart when the demon Mephisto redrew the magical energy used to manifest the children, thereby erasing the twins from existence. The loss of her children caused the Scarlet Witch to fall into an emotional breakdown, and to help her cope, the memories of Billy and Tommy were wiped from her mind. However, despite the fact that the twins' physical forms had been erased, their lost souls lived on to be reincarnated into different families. William, aka Billy, was reborn to Jeff and Rebecca Kaplan in New York City. He was regularly bullied in school for his sexuality and for being a geeky fan of the Avengers and other superheroes. One day, after a particularly bad scrap with his bullies that left him physically injured, Billy sought solace sitting in front of the Avengers mansion gates. There, he encountered the Scarlet Witch, who healed his wounds and gave him some words of encouragement, convincing him to stand his ground. A few weeks later, inspired by her words, Billy opposed one of his school bullies. It was at that moment that his mutant abilities first activated, and the electromagnetic aspect of his power nearly killed his tormentor. Shocked by what he had done, Billy sought out the Scarlet Witch for advice on how to handle his powers, but found that the Avengers had disassembled due to the Scarlet Witch remembering her former children and suffering a psychotic breakdown that nearly destroyed the team. You can learn more about this in our Zatanna vs. Scarlet Witch and Justice League vs. Avengers duel episodes. Billy was then approached by the young hero Iron Lad, who used a failsafe program created by Vision to recruit the next generation of Avengers. Alongside Iron Lad, Patriot, Stature, Hulkling, and the new Hawkeye Kate Bishop, Billy, under the codename Asgardian and later Wiccan, formed the Young Avengers. He soon grew close to his teammate Hulkling, whom you can learn more about in our Miss Martian vs. Hulkling episode, and the two formed a romantic relationship. The Young Avengers further used Vision's failsafe program to find more recruits, leading them to a high-security detention facility for superpowered juvenile offenders, where they met a speedster named Tommy Shepard. The team was surprised at just how much Billy and Tommy resembled each other, claiming they could be identical twins. During the superhuman Civil War, the Young Avengers joined Captain America's anti-government registration side, though Billy was tranquilized and imprisoned early in the fight due to Iron Man's recognition that he needed to neutralize any opposing teleporters. After being rescued and rejoining the Young Avengers, Billy learned that he and Tommy were the reincarnated souls of the children manifested by the Scarlet Witch, and the two set out to locate their spiritual mother, believing that if she could see them alive, her instability could be treated. Billy and the Young Avengers found the Scarlet Witch suffering from amnesia and having long been manipulated by the villain Dr. Doom, who was trying to gain control of her chaos magic. The Young Avengers fought Doom alongside the Avengers and helped restore the Scarlet Witch's mind by taking her back in time to the day of her mental breakdown and getting her to remember who she was and who Billy and Tommy were. Afterward, Hulkling proposed to Billy, and the team of Young Avengers were officially named as full-fledged Avengers by Captain America. Billy later realized the full extent of his magical potential when he temporarily became a mystic entity called the Demiurge during a battle with an interdimensional parasite, whom the Young Avengers defeated. Billy was told that in the future, he as the Demiurge would create the parallel utopia outside of time and space where fellow teammate America Chavez would come from. You can learn more about her in our Vibe vs. Miss America duel. Later, Billy and his fiancée Hulkling joined the new Avengers team and formed their own offshoot of the group with Squirrel Girl when they expressed discomfort caused by that team's affiliation with AIM. With his quirky new team, Billy helped other powerful magic users, Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch, destroy a Celestial that had threatened Earth, a fight which solidified his confidence as a sorcerer with support from his mother. Later, Billy formed a secret team called Strike Force, with the Asgardian Angela, Spider-Woman, Spectrum, Winter Soldier, and Blade for a special mission involving alien shapeshifters who had teamed up with Damon Hellstrom to find a new home after theirs was destroyed. Because of their success, Billy was offered membership in an Avengers Black Ops team without Hulkling, but he declined, preferring to prioritize his engagement instead. At the same time, Hulkling was abducted by a group of alien Kree-Skrull hybrids called the Knights of Infinite, who declared him as ruler of space. He was approached to become the head of the new Kree-Skrull alliance formed to defeat their common enemy, the Kotati. Hulkling accepted his role, but before he and Billy left for outer space, They got married in a ceremony with all the former Young Avengers in attendance. After helping lead the Alliance to victory alongside the Avengers, Billy was inducted as the Prince Consort and Court Wizard for Hulkling's new Galactic Council. Billy and Hulkling then relocated to their new throne world. And that's his backstory. Powers-wise, Wiccan is a sorcerer with a wide array of magical abilities that have been honed over time. Initially, his magic consisted largely of electrokinetic energy, flight, and teleportation via lightning, which is why he initially went by the codename Asgardian, as a riff on Thor. Over time, he increased the variety of his elemental spells, including fire and ice energies, telekinesis, mystic constructs such as force fields, and optical illusions. With enough focus and will, he can wield reality-warping magic similar to his mother that lets him transform and create matter. He could perform healing spells and has limited telepathy through the means of thought casting. Many of his spells outside of his standard elemental power set are spoken aloud, and he has to be able to hear them for them to work. And that's Wiccan.
It's interesting that his mutant ability was lightning-based. That makes this matchup even better, because the Thunderbolt is a fifth-dimensional electrical being.
Yeah, Wiccan can almost be considered like a mixture between Thor and Scarlet Witch. I mean, without the Asgardian physiology, of course. But yeah, his magical power set typically manifests electrically.
Okay, cool. It's nice to get like the other half of Hulkling's story, because I thought Hulkling was a really cool character.
Yeah, and Wiccan is his partner. And later on, we'll get into Tommy Shepard's story, who is Wiccan's twin brother. That'll likely be a Speed versus Impulse episode.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I can't wait to talk about Impulse's backstory. But first, I'm even more excited to talk about Jakeem Thunder. Again, I'm a huge fan of the character. Let me get into his backstory. The history of Jakeem Thunder and his fifth-dimensional Thunderbolt actually goes back to the golden age of comics, to Johnny Thunder, a JSA hero and the original wielder of the Thunderbolt. John L. Thunder was the seventh son of a seventh son, born at 7 a.m. on the seventh day of the week, the seventh day of the month, in 1917. In the fictional island country of Badnesia, this day happened to coincide with their calendar's seventh circle of Lacine. Knowing that a child born at this moment would grow to possess great power, the country's high priest of Asor sent agents to kidnap the baby Johnny. While Johnny was raised in Badnesia, the mystics performed rituals over him, giving him a golden belt known as the Eternal Zone of the Zodiac, and told him that on his 7th birthday, he would inherit a powerful electrical genie-like being known as a Thunderbolt, which the Badnesian mystics hoped to control to take over the world. On Johnny's 5th birthday, however, the neighboring country of Aegolia attacked Badnesia, allowing Johnny to escape and later be rescued. Back in America, Johnny's 7th birthday came and went, his family seemingly the only ones untouched from 7 days of rainfall around the world, but otherwise it was uneventful. Having never been taught the magic words to summon the Thunderbolt, Johnny forgot all about it and grew to live a normal life with his occasional girlfriend, Daisy Darling. One day, as a young adult washing windows, he uttered the words, "Say you," which unknowingly summoned his Thunderbolt, which moved so fast Johnny didn't notice it. Wishing he knew how to fight, Johnny accidentally became a successful boxer, and he later became a rodeo rider at Madison Square Garden for one day, where he rescued a young orphan girl named Peachy Pet from a charging bull.
This sounds like some Golden Age shit.
Yeah, it is. Eventually, Johnny became aware of the pink-colored Thunderbolt, named Uyaz, as well as the magic words that summoned it. He adopted Peachy, and she often helped him determine when and how to use the Thunderbolt. Johnny joined the Justice Society of America and later the Navy during World War II. His adventures, however, caught the attention of the Badnesian High Priest, who had been trying to find him, and the priest placed a spell on Johnny that gradually diminished his ability to summon the Thunderbolt until he lost the ability altogether. Kidnapped once again, Johnny was brought back to Badnesia, where he was put under a spell by the High Priest that allowed him to control Johnny and his Thunderbolt. When Johnny was positioned as the new king of Badnesia, Superman intervened and put a stop to the High Priest. As king, Johnny taught the people of Badnesia about democracy and relinquished his crown once a president was elected. By the time he returned to America, Johnny was an overweight, middle-aged man. His daughter, Peachy, had started up a successful chain of frozen yogurt shops, of which he was a partial owner due to a loan he had given her, and he became a wealthy retiree. Eventually, Johnny developed Alzheimer's and dementia, and in order to protect the Thunderbolt, he stored it within a pink pen, though he forgot what he had done. That pen was used to sign autographs by the JSA member Jay Garrick, the Flash, who you can learn more about in our Flash vs. Electro episode. One of those autographs went to a young boy named Jakeem John Williams, whom Jay also gave the pink pen. Now, Jakeem was born and raised in Keystone City by a single mother who died of cancer when he was a young boy. He was, unknowingly, also the seventh son of a seventh son born on the seventh day of the week on the seventh day of the seventh month at 7 a.m. Taken in by his aunt LaShawn, Jakeem grew to be a streetwise, self-reliant young teenager. While wielding the pen that the Flash gave him, it wasn't long before Jakeem accidentally summoned the Thunderbolt with the words, "Say you." Though he initially thought it was a demon, soon Jakeem was wishing his way into a bank vault. There, he was caught by the Justice League during a worldwide attack from another Thunderbolt, a blue one named Lukoz. After summoning forth Uyaz to fight him, Uyaz merged with Lukoz to form Uyaluzakoz, the purple Thunderbolt, now under Jakeem's control and summoned using the words, "So cool." Inspired by the bravery of Wildcat, who you can learn more about in our Wildcat vs. Batroc episode, Jakeem somewhat reluctantly joined the JSA, where he befriended and trained alongside Stargirl, who he pit in a duel against Darkhawk. Jakeem also became good friends with Johnny Thunder, curing him of his Alzheimer's, and taking on the superhero moniker of Jakeem Thunder. When Johnny Thunder died at the hands of the Ultra Humanite, Jakeem wished for his Thunderbolt to save him, resulting in the Thunderbolt merging with Johnny and forming Johnny Thunderbolt, a Thunderbolt that thought it was Johnny for a time. With Johnny Thunderbolt's help, Jakeem found his biological father Phil, who never knew Jakeem was born. In lead up to the Infinite Crisis event, the Spectre banished Jakeem to the 5th dimension, where he was manipulated by a being named Quisp into becoming a mad tyrant. His Thunderbolt recruited Peachy Pet and her Thunderbolt husband, Shaco, alongside the JSA to stop Quisp's influence over Jakeem, though Quisp managed to separate Johnny Thunder from the Thunderbolt and held Johnny prisoner before he was rescued by Jakeem and the JSA, who then returned to their normal dimension. Jakeem aided the JSA in subsequent battles against the villains Mordru, Gog, and Necron before being erased from continuity by Dr. Manhattan along with the rest of the JSA in the rebooted Flashpoint timeline. Jakeem was later restored to the timeline along with the re-merged Johnny Thunderbolt and the rest of the JSA. When the Teen Titans were attacked by a djinn named Elias, Johnny Thunderbolt was destroyed, rendering Jakeem powerless. Realizing that some of the Thunderbolt's power resided within him, however, Jakeem managed to save the lives of all of the Teen Titans, who then defeated Elias and helped restore Johnny Thunderbolt. And that's his history so far. Powers-wise, with the magic words "so cool," Jakeem Thunder can summon Johnny Thunderbolt, a powerful 5th-dimensional being, from a pink pen that houses it. The Thunderbolt can alter reality and matter to grant any wish spoken by Jakeem and is only limited by Jakeem's literal words and pronunciation. The Thunderbolt itself is physically strong, can project electricity, and fly, often carrying Jakeem or allowing him to ride on his back. There are some limitations to what Jakeem can do. You can't ask the Thunderbolt to kill anyone or bring them back from the dead, and he's limited in that Jakeem needs to possess the pen in order to command the Thunderbolt. And since the Thunderbolt is made of electricity, he can be disrupted by water. That's Jakeem Thunder.
So, is Thunderbolt a 5th-dimensional being, or is he a genie?
He's a 5th-dimensional being that's confused for a genie and sort of, grants wishes like a genie.
Now, Mixie Spitlick is also from that dimension as well, right?
Yes.
And Batmite, right?
Yes.
Why aren't they genies then?
Because they're not electrical beings like him. There's different kinds of beings from the 5th dimension.
Okay.
They're not all Thunderbolts.
Where did Peachy Pit get the Thunderbolt that she married? Which is kind of weird, by the way.
Her husband, Shaco, is actually the son of Johnny's Thunderbolt.
Okay.
So Johnny's daughter married the Thunderbolt's son. I have no idea how they found each other.
Or how they get it on.
They find a way. Life finds a way.
So is Johnny Thunder going to be the Thunderbolt that's used for this match?
Yes.
And is the Thunderbolt being still housed within a pen?
Yes.
All right, good to know. But I wonder, why did Johnny Thunder transfer the genie into a pen?
Well, the genie needs to be stored in some kind of liquid, so it was pen ink and also like a metal container, which the pen was metal. It was a nice pen that he got from his daughter, so that was the vessel. It's just like nice and inconspicuous.
Has Jakeem Thunder ever had like his own series or anything, or has he always just been a part of the Justice Society?
He's had his own miniseries, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like he's kind of obscure, yeah?
Very, very obscure, but very cool, in my opinion. He's hilarious in that he has one of the worst potty mouths of almost any DC character. So that kind of leads to some problems when he's commanding his Thunderbolt. People who are familiar with the JSA are probably familiar with Jakeem, or at least Johnny Thunder.
All right, well, now that we got the characters' histories and abilities out of the way, let's speculate on how one of the 1,000 simulated matches we run will go. The winner is determined by simulations, not this speculation, but it's fun to imagine how this fight could play out.
Now, we don't set any rules for this match, other than the characters don't know anything about each other going in, except that the other character is a threat that needs to be put down. And we say that they start off about 50 meters apart in an environment that has no bearing on the match itself, because we don't take stats for the environment.
Plus, certain characters have advantages in some environments over others, and we want them to win on their own merit. So let's get into it. Jakeem Thunder and Wiccan meet on the battlefield. Who goes first?
I mean, obviously, Jakeem's going to start by pulling out his pen and saying, "So cool!" to summon Johnny Thunderbolt. And so, like, right away, Jakeem's going to shout, "Yo, Thunderbolt, smoke this fool!" And, of course, Thunderbolt's going to misinterpret that. He's going to create, like, a giant wood pipe and stuffs Wiccan into it and just starts smoking it while Wiccan burns and suffocates on the smoke all around him.
He smokes him.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so Wiccan, he's going to leap out of this pipe, and he throws this giant lightning bolt that shatters the wooden pipe into splinters. And then, with all these like wooden shards around him, he's going to telekinetically lift him and then hurl these splinters right into Jakeem, like impaling him all over like a porcupine.
Okay, but like as the splinters are being lifted telekinetically, though, Jakeem, he's going to realize what's happening. So he's going to be like, "Save me!" And the Thunderbolt, he's just going to zip between Jakeem and each of the splinters, blocking them with his body, like a shield.
Okay, so it's going to be obvious by this point, like Wiccan's going to be able to deduce like the relationship between this teenager and this like magical entity that's like protecting him. So he's probably going to figure Jakeem ain't shit without the Thunderbolt. So Wiccan's going to fire a teleportation blast at Johnny Thunderbolt, and that's going to transport him like 100 miles away. So Jakeem's all alone.
Okay. So I guess at that point, Jakeem, he's just going to start running.
There's nothing else he could do.
Right, yeah.
So like Wiccan's going to like fly over to him and like trap Jakeem in this like electric force field ball kind of thing. Uh-huh. And he's going to fly up and lift Jakeem high into the air and then just release the force field, dropping Jakeem to his death.
Okay, well, that's when the Thunderbolt just swoops in with lightning speed from miles away and catches Jakeem before he hits the ground.
But doesn't Johnny Thunderbolt need to be commanded to do so by Jakeem?
I mean, the last command Jakeem gave him was like, "Save me." You know, so the Thunderbolt is going to keep doing that until he's given a new command.
Okay.
So Jakeem is riding on the Thunderbolt's back, and he's going to be like, "Let's ice this dead beat." And that's when Thunderbolt uses fifth-dimensional magic to freeze Wiccan in a block of ice.
All right. I'm really glad he didn't say, "Yo, fuck this guy."
That'd be weird. What would happen?
So Wiccan's falling to the ground, encased in ice, but before he even hits the ground, he's just going to teleport out of the ice block.
Okay.
And he's going to reappear right next to Jakeem, and he's going to punch him with an electrified fist and magically enhanced strength, and that's just going to send Jakeem flying off Johnny Thunderbolt.
Okay, so Jakeem is flying through the air, and he's probably in pain, but he's going to manage to say, "I wish I had a jetpack," before he lands on the ground. So Thunderbolt zips over to him, and now Jakeem has a jetpack, okay?
Wait, did the Thunderbolt turn into a jetpack?
No, he just magically manifested one for him.
Oh, okay.
And then Jakeem's going to be like, "Give me a gun." So now he's building, like, probably some, like, World War II rifle, That's probably what Johnny Thunder would make for him.
Okay. So he has a futuristic jetpack and a World War II rifle.
That's right. So Jakeem, he's going to fly toward Wiccan, just firing his gun at him.
Well, I mean, Wiccan can stop bullets easily with the force field. He just throws up a force field, he blocks Jakeem Thunder's bullets, and then he's going to start spell casting. He's going to say, gun into Cobra, gun into Cobra, gun into Cobra. And then Jakeem's rifle is going to turn into a fucking Cobra.
Is that how his magic works?
Yeah. Through his willpower and just repetition, he can do a lot of different effects.
Huh.
But the Cobra that Jakeem's holding now bites him and injects him with this lethal venom. So dude's dying.
Okay, Jakeem he's going to drop the snake, obviously, and he's probably going to start panicking. He's going to be like, Johnny, you got to suck out the poison, man. So Thunderbolt, he's probably going to create a vacuum with its hose over the bite wound, and the poison's just going to get sucked out.
A vacuum?
Yeah.
It's not how vacuums work.
That's how magic vacuums work, okay?
Oh my God.
Whatever Jakeem wanted to happen is what's going to happen. So the poison's gone.
Well, okay, while this poison suction is happening, Wiccan's gonna obviously see that Jakeem is verbally controlling this magic being that he's with. So at this point, Wiccan is gonna start mentally manipulating Jakeem by thought casting into his mind that Johnny Thunderbolt is his enemy. So Jakeem doesn't like Johnny Thunderbolt, and it's gonna make him say get the hell away from me. And at that point, Thunderbolt's just gonna disappear.
Actually, Thunderbolt's just gonna move Jakeem farther away from hell. I'm guessing, farther up into the sky or something like that. He's getting hell away from him. Okay, but so I'm confused. So he's making Jakeem think that the Thunderbolt is a monster, or just mentally manipulating him?
He's making him dislike the Thunderbolt. He's thought casting into him that the Thunderbolt genie is not his friend, that he means him harm.
Okay.
So Thunderbolt may be lifting Jakeem into the air to get him away from hell, but Jakeem is still going to be afraid of the Thunderbolt. So he's going to be freaking out like he's being abducted. So he's going to be let go of me, man. And Thunderbolt's just going to drop Jakeem to his death.
Okay, I mean, he still has his jetpack, though. So, it's not like he hits the ground. He's still flying in the air. And Thunderbolt, by this point, he's, really confused. So he's going to be talking with Jakeem, and he's going to be like, hey, pal, what's going on? It's me, Johnny. And when Jakeem continues to, freak out on him, Thunderbolt is just going to literally slap the mind control out of Jakeem.
Does that work? Can he do that without a command?
Yeah, he has his own personality. He's been known to save Jakeem, even from mind control before.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, while all that drama was going on, Wiccan was magically cloaked. He was invisible. He was observing, and he was magically scanning Jakeem. And he found out that the source of his Thunderbolt friend is the pen in his pocket. So as Jakeem gets slapped back to reality, Wiccan's gonna uncloak himself, and he's gonna telekinetically yank Jakeem's pen out of his pocket and into his grasp, and he's gonna snap it in half, which destroys the Thunderbolt and all his magic. So Jakeem's magic jetpack disappears, and he finally falls to his death.
Destroying the Thunderbolt isn't gonna destroy his magic. It just means that Jakeem can't make any new wishes. Okay? So Jakeem's gonna race to the ground to catch the broken pieces of his pen. And when he catches them, he's going to use his own internal magic to wish for the pen to be the way it was before Wiccan broke it.
What's his internal magic?
He has some of the genie's magic inside of him internally. So he can't do anything too major, but he can put this pen back together. It's limited reality control.
Oh.
So he's going to say, so cool, again, and Johnny Thunderbolt is back on the scene. Now, by this point, Jakeem Thunder, he's sick of this shit. So he's going to be like, Johnny, get rid of this motherfucker's powers. So Thunderbolt zips through Wiccan in the sky, stripping him of all of his magic and power, with his superior fifth dimensional reality warping ability. And now Wiccan's the one who falls to his death.
But Thunderbolt's just going to be confused, because I can guarantee you Wiccan has not fucked any mothers. So there's no motherfucker here. He doesn't swing that way. Wiccan's into dudes. So Thunderbolt's looking around and shrugging. He's like, eh? And Wiccan is going to use this opportunity to create a huge magic storm in the sky that sends down a lightning bolt that incinerates Jakeem and his pen, and Thunderbolt can't do anything because the storm's rain disrupts him or whatever, because he said he has a weakness to water.
Yeah.
So match over, basically. Jakeem's incinerated.
Okay. I love that. But I'm going to argue that the Thunderbolt knows what a motherfucker is. because he actually started to adapt some of Jakeem's like foul language in the comics. So he's going to understand that specific phrase, and so there's no confusion, all right? Wiccan falls to his death before he can summon the storm.
No, okay. Well, that seems like a good place to leave this match. Either Thunderbolt knows what a motherfucker is and strips Wiccan of his powers, killing him.
Or he takes it literally.
Yeah, and then doesn't know what to do, and then Wiccan takes the opportunity to zap Jakeem away. So we'll go ahead and leave the match there. We'll input the stats on each character, run the simulations, and find out which of these scenarios happened when we come back with a winner.
Okay, this was actually one of the more complicated duel matches in terms of figuring out the stats for these characters.
Right. Essentially because it's 2-on-1. So we could run a matrix where we find out how Wiccan would fare both against Jakeem Thunder and Johnny Thunderbolt individually, but that does seem a little disingenuous because usually the matrices that we use in like team battles would indicate that there's more than one Wiccan on the battlefield. So what we decided to do was average Jakeem Thunder's base stats as they are without the Thunderbolt with his potential while wielding the Thunderbolt. So he could run anywhere from mildly enhanced with magic to full-on like God mode, depending on what exactly he wishes for.
Yeah, the Thunderbolt is insanely powerful.
But Wiccan is no slouch as well. Compared to Jakeem and Johnny's averages, we found that Wiccan fell largely in line with those same numbers in terms of evasiveness and their ability to create shields, their durability and their natural resistance, strength and their ability to, telekinetically lift things, damage, whatnot.
We did find a number of stats where they did differ, primarily in fighting skill, where Jakeem's base fighting stat was higher than average due to his training from Wildcat and his ability to wish to be a better fighter, in much the same way that Johnny Thunder's first wish was to become a boxer, and he became a boxing champ.
Yeah, that was higher than Wiccan's, who really doesn't have much in the way of physical fighting training. So if it ever came down to fisticuffs, Jakeem would just own Wiccan.
We also said that they differed in terms of intelligence, not by much. Neither of these characters are especially known for being bright, but when it comes to Jakeem Thunder and Johnny Thunder, both of them are known for being somewhat foolish and not always thinking things through. And that's where a lot of the humor comes with the character, and just having that limitation so that they're not just instantly solving the problems that the JSA faces.
Yeah, the whole idiom usage when it comes to the genie makes for some pretty hilarious character building.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help him in terms of formidability. But outside of the differences in fighting skill and intelligence, we found that they were relatively comparable, especially in terms of perception and versatility. So with the stats input and the simulations run, who do you think is going to win this match, Jonathan?
I think it's going to be close, but Jakeem Thunder, he could do almost anything. He's really powerful. I think he's going to come out on top.
And of course, since we're recording this episode early, we don't have any Instagram poll results for this matchup. So we don't have a beat on what you guys think, but I do have the results. The winner between Jakeem Thunder and Wiccan is Jakeem Thunder.
Yes!
It was really close, though. Out of the 1,000 matches, Jakeem won 514, whereas Wiccan only won 486. So the win percentage is 51.4% to 48.6%. And I think it's really dumb why, I have to say, because despite Jakeem Thunder getting knocked for the verbal mix-ups that often happen in his battles alongside Johnny Thunderbolt, Wiccan lost because his fighting ability stat was so low. So basically, these simulations assume that at some point, these two guys are just going to start exchanging blows.
Sure, yeah. Why not?
It doesn't feel right because they're both heavy magic users that rarely resort to physicality.
That's not true at all. I see Jakeem Thunder throwing punches all the time alongside his Thunderbolt.
Well, Wiccan rarely does. I've seen him throw a few punches a few times. And they've been electrified and magic enhanced and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of the training that he receives is mostly in magic and not in terms of physical fighting. It seems weird that he loses because of that. Because, he has the potential to become the fucking demiurge, and while he still can't control his powers enough to do that, it just, I don't know, it seems weird.
The demiurge can't hold a candle to the power of the Thunderbolt. I'm just going to say that.
What are you talking about?
The Thunderbolt is one of, the most powerful beings in the universe. And he could probably create his own pocket dimension, too, if he wanted.
I don't know about that. But mainly,
that's right. You don't know.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay, if you say so. Yeah, this one stings. I just really wish that Wiccan would take like a few boxing classes with Captain America or something like that, you know? Then he'd probably come out on top. I mean, even I've taken a few boxing classes. You know, it wouldn't be hard. He just needs to do that.
Well, until someone writes it, that's just one wish that's not going to come true. Because you don't have a thunderbolt.
Well, you know, I could always use my few boxing classes to reach over and slap the shit out of you. There's always that.
Okay, resorting to physical threats. Sore loser.
I have nothing else right now. I lost, so I'm going to beat you up.
Math, dude. Let's not use our fists. Let's use our math.
You know, I'm not even worried about this anymore. In reality, right now, I'm eating like tapas on a beach in Spain. So I'm good. I'm good. Honestly, I'm not even angry anymore.
That's fair. You're the real winner here. But that does it for this duel. Let us know what you thought about the results by writing to us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com or by visiting us on Instagram or Twitter. You can find the links to all of our accounts by checking out our show notes or visiting our website, dynamicduel.com.
And on our site, you could also find a link to our Patreon page where we offer ad-free episodes of this show, bonus content including top 10 episodes and bloopers, monthly live movie watch-alongs, and access to our Discord chat server. Again, check it out right after this episode at patreon.com/dynamicduel, which is linked in our show notes. Our lowest tier is only $2 a month.
In our next episode, not only will we be talking about all of the news that came out of Comic-Con, we will also be reviewing DC's animated film, League of Super Pets.
Yeah, I haven't got my tickets yet. I'll see it when I get back. Hopefully it's worth talking about. Part of me hopes that it's as bad as Thor: Love and Thunder was.
I don't know if that's possible. Who knows? We'll see. That does it for this episode. We want to give a big thanks to our executive producers, John Spees, Ken Johnson, John Starosky, Zachary Hepburn, Dustin Belcom, Maggie Mathangian, Brendan Estergaard, Nathaniel Wagner, Levi Eaton, Austin Wizolowski, Nick Abanto, and AJ Dunkerley for helping make this podcast possible. We'll talk to you guys next week. Up, and away.
True believers.